Okay, I want to show you what to do when you get your flip loom. It's going to come up, it's going to come in a box wrapped in bubble wrap, and all your things strapped onto the beams. First thing you're going to do is take those things off and then start putting things on your loom. So what's really great about when you get your flip loom, it is finished with a beautiful hand rubbed Danish oil, and it's essentially assembled except for a few things that you have to do. So I want to talk about what you're getting with your flip loom. So you're getting a Heddle. In this case is a 10 dent, but you have your choice of a 5, 8, 10, 12, or 15. You get these two crank handles with two screws to attach them. You get 3/16" dowels, and these you use to attach your apron cords. You get 3 apron bars. You're going to use 2, and you have an extra third one in case you use a technique where you lash on to your apron bar. We have 2 stick shuttles, a heddle hook, your warping peg, and you have 2 other clamps that you can clamp your loom to the table, and we have 6 apron cords. The first step in setting up your loom is to put your crank handles on, and this handle has a hole and it lines up with this hole in the beam. So I'm going to just stick that in there, and then you're going to line up those holes, which is fairly easy to do, and just try to hold that in place, and this screw is going to secure it. I'm using a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, and then that's just going to secure that handle. Then I'll do the same thing with this other handle. We're ready to put the other handle in, again lining up the hole in the beam with the hole in the handle. And I'm kind of supporting it with my index finger underneath to keep things from moving. And I'll just screw that into place. Okay, now we got those in pretty solidly. The next step is to unfold the loom. So it's actually face down right now, the legs are up. I'm going to tighten these knobs, and then I'm going to insert the lock knobs into the holes. There's one on each side. So what these do is, especially when you are weaving on a stand, you need these knobs to keep the loom from folding as you're weaving. So now we can flip the loom over, and it's going to all stay together. And the next job is to attach your cords, your apron cords. So this is called Texel cord, and it's kind of a linked cord. It has holes in it. So these are really nifty things. And this dowel holds this on the beam. It helps, the reason we do it this way, it helps prevent bulk on the beam with the cords. So this, you're going to do all these all the way across. On the 15-inch loom you have 3, and then on wider looms you have more cords. So you just open up that link and you poke the dowel through there. So this is going through all the way, and I'm just going into the last hole in the cord. Okay, now I'm going to pull that snug and line up the cords and the dowel. Okay. Alright, so now that's lined up. So now the next part is to attach your apron bar to the beam. So this is, once you get this, you got it, but it takes a minute to understand how this works. So you're going to use this link cord to help you attach to this bar. So I'm going to make a loop or fold the cord, and then I'm going to poke it through the end hole in the last link. So now I have a loop. So that's what attaches. It's a pretty slick system. So again, fold the loop, and I'm going to poke it through the last hole in the cord, and I'm going to pull that loop through and attach the apron bar, and then you just pull it tight. So now do the same thing, pinch and insert into that last hole. Okay, so now that one is attached. I'm going to do the same thing to the back beam. So let me just take a pause for a minute on the loom. So this is the front of the loom, and the beams are named for what they do. So on the front it's the cloth beam, because now you've woven and the cloth is going around the beam. Back here on the back of the loom is your warp beam, and that is where your warp is stored before you weave. This is your heddle block. And so once we get this warped, I will show you how these different areas work on the loom. So just open up the link and insert this 3/16 inch dowel. You want to make sure that you're always going in from the same side of the beam, because you want all your cords to end up the same length. Alrighty, now we're going to attach the apron bar. We don't need this one. So again, folding, poking through the hole, the last link. So now we have everything ready. The next thing I want to talk to you about before we move on is I'm going to turn the loom around so you can see the braking system. So when this ratchet dog is flipped over, it's braking the ratchet gear. So to release your tension, you're just going to take this off. To put it on, you flip it down. So you have the same thing on both sides. On the 25 and 30 inch, because the looms are so wide, you have ratchets and ratchet dogs on both sides of the loom. So let's talk about one of the things I love about the flip loom is this is your neutral. And this is where you put your heddle when you thread. When you weave, you're going to have it up here in the up position, and it goes down here for the downshed. So just up and down. Okay? Now, what are all these other spaces for? These are for when you're doing a two heddle pattern, you need to have space for threading, which these are for, and for the second heddle, which is this space. So I'm going to do another video showing you how that all works. So I hope if you're interested in that, you'll check that out. So now let's just talk about the other things. You're going to need to assemble your warping peg. So that is just going to go on here like this with the flat part up. So that goes on the table. And then you just have these wing nuts underneath that you use to secure. So when we do the warping peg method, we'll be using this peg. And then sometimes people like to use the clamps that go into the holes here on the end of the back beam on the leg, or sometimes you can just hook it on the table. It depends how you want to do it, but that's why you have these clamps that go into those holes, and you can put them on the front. There's holes here and as well as the back. So now you have your beautiful loom ready to weave.